Hello and welcome to Carl the Urban. I'm not Carl Urban.
And regrettably, neither am I. We will start, as always, with opinions. What are your thoughts of Thor Ragnarok? And how many times have you seen it?
Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, I think I've seen it 4 or 5 times, probably more. I'd say at least a handful, to answer your question, which you didn't ask me.
And how many times have you seen it?
Thank you. Just edit that in. Go back and edit that bit in. Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's very different to the previous Thor films. Taika has 100% injected humour into this, which I feel fits nicely into the MCU.
Yep.
And then I think this sort of Thor humour bleeds into future films with Thor in it, carrying on to Infinity War, Endgame, the trailers for the new one. It has a very Guardians 1 kind of feel to it, so I think that bodes well for the new one. Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's one of my favourites, which is good. I do feel like the humour, there is a fair bit of slapstick humour in this. Maybe a bit too much. I mean, for example, the Get Help scene, I do find funny in the way that it's shot. I do like it.
Yeah.
But I think the humour can be a bit over the top and maybe a bit too much.
Okay.
But yeah, yourself? I mean, your first sort of overall views of this?
I really like this film. I would say it is one of, if not possibly, my absolute favourite MCU film.
Ooh,
I
was
yeah.
not expecting that.
Yeah, it is just hugely enjoyable. It is a film that remembers that comics can be goofy and funny and fun, and that's okay. And things can be cool for the sake of being cool, and you can put Led Zeppelin on the soundtrack for no apparent reason other than it will create cool images when Thor does a barrel roll into some zombies.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It is great fun. And, you got those Valkyrie scenes where it's like the front cover of a metal album. Love it. I worked a 6-day week this week. I watched this last night after finishing on a Saturday, and it's exactly the kind of film I want to watch after a long week.
Yeah.
It is enjoyable and uplifting and fun. And I know what you're saying with the comedy, and it is a criticism I have heard before. And my counter-argument to that is it's funny.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. It is hilarious and it is a great film. But sometimes it can be like, here's a bit that's quite emotional. Slap over the face. Here's some humour. I'm like, well, okay, allow it to just sit for a second. Let's just appreciate this emotional scene for a little bit longer, and then you can go into the next scene.
But I think a lot of the times the humour comes from undercutting a serious moment like that. So the joke would not land as well if it hadn't come immediately after a serious or a dramatic moment. So him giving that heroic speech, throwing the ball at the window and it hitting him in the head.
Yeah.
That's
pretty funny.
That's where the comedy comes from. And the destruction of Asgard, obviously having that sad moment, and then the comment by Korg,
I'm Korg,
about rebuilding, and then immediately seeing it blow up. I think those parts are just, the jokes wouldn't land in the same way if you didn't have those little serious or dramatic moments. That's the way I look at it. Not that the comedy is undercutting the dramatic moments, but the dramatic moments are setting up for the comedy.
Yeah, I was really excited to move away from TV shows, because the last 2 episodes, Boys and the Umbrella Academy.
Yes.
To move away from these sort of like team up programs, if you will, and then completely forgot that this is a team up film.
Yes.
With cameos.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, it's Thor, it's Hulk, great, fun times ahead. And then you go, well, actually, you got Valkyrie, you got Odin, you got Loki, just a whole array of characters.
Doctor Strange.
Yep. Strange turns up, which I do like that we've come off the back of Doctor Strange. So now we get to watch the post-credit scenes again.
Whee.
Just a longer version.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. There's this huge ensemble cast, actually. And, you see a lot of Taika's regulars cropping up in cameos. The whole play scene in Asgard with Loki's play, where you've got Chris Hemsworth's brother playing Thor.
Yeah.
You've got Matt Damon playing Loki. And you've got Sam Neill playing Odin. I thought amazing. I know, amazing.
First time I saw that was hilarious.
But Sam Neill had been in Hunt for the Wilder People, one of Taika's other films. So they've got a pre-existing relationship there. Really good film if you haven't seen it, by the way. You should definitely watch it. Also, very funny roles. Jeff Goldblum turning up doing the most Jeff Goldblum thing he can possibly do.
I mean, I can't think of a single bad appearance of Jeff.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, in my opinion. He's so funny and just great.
I mean, he's been in some bad films,
Yeah.
but he's never bad in them, I always find. But he is very much a humorous presence here and excellent. And clearly they've allowed him to just go wild with it, which is great.
Just to hop around a bit, there's a different bit that I like. I mean, it's not the classic, I know him from work. It's not that one. But it's the bit where Hulk's literally smashing Thor around, like just slapping him around completely.
Yeah.
And then Tom Hiddleston as Loki, it's like, yes, that's what it feels like. That was just comedy to the perfect beat. You know, he's sat there terrified for his life, and then suddenly just jumps up and it's, yes, Taika, well done. You've done that bit well.
It's almost like he can direct comedy.
It is, yeah. It's odd, that, isn't it?
Yeah. And then there's a load of other good people in here. We won't dwell on them all, but Tessa Thompson, very good. Big Driss, great. Rachel House, another Taika Waititi collaborator, also in Hunt for the Wilder People. She was very good. And of course, we should probably talk about our man Urban.
The main man Urban,
Yeah.
with his two guns, Des and Troy,
Yeah.
from Texas, which is just daft, and I love it. And I do like his redemption arc in this. He has got quite a nice one.
Yeah, almost taken directly from the comic book. His comic book, I would say, is a lot more epic in scope. He plays a similar sort of, he is a Enchantress's enforcer in the comic books. He has an antagonistic relationship with Thor for a long, long time, and then has a very similar sacrificial play fighting down the forces of Hell to stop Hela from catching them. So it has a very similar sort of arc in the comic books, but a lot more epic in scope, I feel. That's the only thing I would worry about this film is the amount that they packed in meant that plot lines like that, which are big moments in the comic book, were a little bit lost in this film, but that's a minor complaint. I mean, he's basically playing Billy Butcher at the beginning, so that's fun.
Yeah, I was half expecting him to call Hela the C word. Oi, who are you? Oh, and one line that I enjoyed in both the comic and the animated film was Hulk slash. Made me laugh.
You love a reference.
I do.